fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver, the Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the masked rider of the plains fought crime and criminals throughout the western United States. Whenever men gathered around frontier campfires, stories were told of his adventures, and these stories have come down to us through the generations. Courageous, resourceful, and daring, he was the greatest champion of justice the West ever knew. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver! We're heading for Plainsville! There's going to be trouble! Hello, Silver! Away!
For several years after it had been founded, Plainsville lived a peaceful existence. Those who traded there were farmers, not cattlemen, men and women of quiet industry. But time passed, and with it times changed, until one day these people awakened to the fact that the railroad, slowly crawling westward, had extended its twin rails of steel to within a few miles of their community. And the railroad brought not only progress, but violence.
$100.
I won't sell for that.
The railroad's got to go through. It's got to have the right of way. $100.
It ain't enough. My place is...
Take it, mister. We'll run you clean out of the country. 50 for the whole shebang.
No.
You figure you're bigger than a railroad, ma'am?
It's robbery.
But it's all you get. Take it or wish you had.
I won't sell for no such price, and you can't make me. Get off my place. Get off before you get this buckshot in the seat of your britches.
Poor farmers. So far, we've gone easy with you. But the railroad's gonna go through spite of every sodbuster in the county. And don't forget it.
The railroad, powerful, rich, employing thousands of men, desired to seize the land it needed for its right-of-way at prices scarcely representing a fraction of the land's true value. The homesteaders were unorganized, unused to violence, lacking a leader, until...
Fellas! Hey, fellas, I got news. Listen to this. You recollect old Matt Crowley?
Sure. There was the toughest two-fisted hombre ever was in these parts. I seen him wrestle with a bear the day he was 70 years old.
Even if a dozen of them railroaders to one.
And he had a head on him, too. If he was alive, we wouldn't be in this fix.
Fellas, old Matt's gone, but young Matt ain't.
Young Matt? Who's he?
Young Matt's his grandson. He's come to town by stage tomorrow, and if he's half the man his grandpap was, we got us a fella to tie to. Old Matt was a curly wolf. Friends, I'm betting the young'un's the same.
more gravy, Pa?
No, thank you, Judy. Hear the news when you went to town today?
The railroad? They tried to make you sell again?
Nope. Young Matt Crowley, old Matt's grandson. They say he's coming to town tomorrow. Ever tell you old Matt lived neighbors to this place once? Yes, sirree. Him and me was right good friends, too. And you never seen his beat. Lived to be almost 90 and would have fought at the drop of a hat right up to the day he died.
You knew young Matt? His grandson, too, Pa?
Never laid eyes on him. He was born and raised back east. But I can tell you this. If he's a Crowley, he's a fighter. Daughter, with him to call the tune, we'll lick that railroad all holler.
Boys are ready, Mr. Boyle. If we're going to get to town by the time that stage pulls in, we better be hustling.
We'll make it, Hogger. Just a word before we start out, boys.
Yeah?
From what I've heard, these farmers are saying this Crowley gent is something special. Idiots around here kind of look for him to cause us trouble.
Say the word, boss, and we'll give him a going over that'll make him wish he stayed to home.
You won't. That's just what I'm getting at. Ain't I want you to make a break till I've had a chance to look him over. Savvy that? I aim to size the critter up and see what he amounts to.
All right. You give the orders, we'll follow him.
That's all, then. Let's go. Get up there. Get up there. Get up. Come on.
The expected arrival of young Matt Crowley had brought far more than the usual quota of visitors to town. Many homesteaders gathered around the stagecoach office, but swaggering railroaders from the construction camp made their appearance in almost equal numbers. Among the strangers in Plainsville that day, suspected by no one, was the Lone Ranger in disguise. He stopped a townsman on the main street and...
Isn't the stage late? Hey? Isn't the stage late?
Oh, the stage? Shucks, it'll be along right soon. You come to have a look at young Crowley, too, stranger?
Yes.
You ain't a railroader, are you?
I'm not.
Didn't think you was. You ain't got the look of one of them skunks. Consarn pirates. Steal us blind, they'd like to.
I've heard that.
Stranger, you'll have to excuse me. There's a stage now, and I'm to be right up front. Tim! Hi, Tim! Wait for me. Let me through. Let me through there, I tell you. Let me through.
What he looks like.
Old Matt was 6'6". I'll bet you young Matt's a whopper.
I think he heard of the trouble and come here on account of it.
And maybe so.
Now, watch out! Make way for the horses!
Hi there! You got a fella named Crowley aboard, driver?
Come on, Judy! Hang on to the coach. I'll get you where you can see. Excuse me, folks.
I never thought there'd be such a crowd. Is that him there?
What, sitting next to the door? That half pint and wearing glasses? Gosh, no. Look for a big fella with great...
Here you are, Mr.
He's about 6 feet tall.
This is Painesville.
Strong.
Thank you.
Well, I'll be...
It is him.
No. Hey, where at young Matt? Didn't he come? Yeah.
This here's him, folks. You're looking right at him.
You're loco.
The Crowleys is all big hombres.
Why, he ain't big enough to lick his weight in butterflies.
Please, I'm Matt Crowley. I don't understand.
We was looking for a fighter.
See, he won't be no use.
Lucky old man ain't alive to see what his grandson turned out to be.
Come on, let's clear out. We're stung again.
Well, I guess that's it, Judy. Come on. I guess we was counting our chickens before they was hatched. Maybe next time we'll have...
I think you've all acted hateful. Oh, Mr. Crowley.
Yes?
Don't let what they said bother you. It wasn't fair. They had no right to...
I don't see... I don't understand. This crowd. I just came out to settle up my grandfather's estate.
Of course. But you mustn't blame them too much. They were hoping that...
But I still don't see...
Maybe I'd better explain, young fella. I'm Fred Miller. Judy here's my daughter. I got a farm east of town. I used to know your grandpa right well.
I'm glad to know you.
There's been some trouble with the railroad hereabouts, and folks had an idea, you being a Crowley, you'd pitch in and help them. But, just forget it.
Railroad? Trouble?
What's this about the railroad?
You...
Boyle, you ain't wanted here. Ain't nobody from the railroad welcome in Plainsville.
So I've heard. So you're Matt Crowley, eh? You're the hombre they said was going to make it tough for us. Well, if you're the best they can scare up, the folks around here are in a mighty bad way.
I don't know you. Why, I...
None of your lip, young fella.
Now, you see here.
Oh, it's trouble you're wanting, huh? Well, take off them glasses and I'll oblige you.
Well, I didn't say I wanted trouble. All I said was...
Why, you flannel-mouthed young pup, I'll knock your ears off.
You're just looking for a fight. You're trying to bully him.
Oh, you're siding in with him, huh?
Don't you dare start a fight.
Careful, Judy.
Yeah, you better listen to your pa. And you, young fella, you better wait till you're dry behind the ears before you set yourself up again growed men. Maybe you won't always have a female handy to do your fighting for you.
Now, that's enough.
Matt, no.
I never had a fight in my life, but you can't stand there and talk to me like that.
You'll do what?
This.
Missed, young fella? That's the difference between you and me. You miss and I duck.
Oh, you knocked him down. Paul, do something. Hit him. Show him that...
Judy, there's a dozen of his men there just waiting for a chance to start a ruckus. What can I do? Just make matters worse.
Sure. Run along, both of you. Run along before
Your mistake, Boyle. You're leaving.
Huh? Who are you?
Stranger, now don't
I'll
you...
handle this. You heard me, Boyle. Get going.
Hey, now, if you
Get
want...
going.
You ask for it. Boys, come here and...
Leaping maverick, stranger, you sure got a draw.
All us, boss.
It's your play, Boyle. Make your move.
Nothing. Just forget it.
That's better. You heard me before. Get going.
Right. But I got a memory, mister. And this is something I won't be forgetting. You and me'll hook up again.
I think we will.
Thanks, stranger. Now, if you'll give me a hand with this young fellow, I'll take him home with me.
No,
Well,
he goes with me, Miller. He'll be safe. As I said before, I'm handling this. Believe me, both of you. I'm a stranger, but I'm on your side. Reviving Matt Crowley, the Lone Ranger led the bewildered young man to a grove of trees just outside town, where the great stallion Silver had been concealed. Matt was persuaded to mount in spite of his protests, and an hour later they arrived at the small, well-hidden camp where Tonto waited.
Oh, Silver. Oh, fella. Oh, boy.
Get down.
Why did you bring me here?
For several reasons.
Who him?
Matt Crowley, Kemosabe. Matt, this is Tonto, my friend.
But you hadn't explained
Matt,
what...
your grandfather's name is respected out here. He was a fighter and a leader.
But
Wait.
I
heard everything that was said back there in town. I heard you state you'd come west merely to settle your grandfather's estate. But whether you like it or not, you're involved in something a great deal more important.
I don't see how.
If for no other reason, because you bear the name of Crowley.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
To the homesteaders in this district, it means, or did mean, their one opportunity to make a successful fight to save their homes from the railroad.
Nonsense.
You think so? Well, the fact remains they need leadership. There's no one among them qualified for the part. But because your name is Crowley, they'd have followed you. You had measured up.
They laughed at me.
To hide their disappointment. They built a lot of hopes on your arrival, Matt. It was foolish of them, perhaps. But men in their position are ready to grasp at anything.
But what could I do? I'm not a Westerner. I don't know anything about fighting. I don't even know their quarrel.
It's just this. The railroad is attempting to get their land for little or nothing. And will if it's not prevented.
I can scarcely sit a horse.
You could learn.
I can't shoot.
I'll teach you.
Most of the men out here would make two of me.
You don't measure a man's courage or ability by his size.
But...
If you'll take a hand in this fight, Tonto and I'll give you what help you'll need. Well, what do you say?
But it's impossible.
You refuse?
I know you mean well. I don't doubt that these homesteaders are in the right. And that girl I met, I'd like to show her that I'm not the coward she must think me. But even so...
This is your opportunity. If you turn it down... To the horses. They followed us. Here, Scout. Here, Silver. Hip with you. Hurry. Come on, Tonto. Now. Be ready. Get him up, Scout. Get him up. Come on, Silver. Oh, Silver. Away. The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. to continue our story. Racing away from the band of men who had charged on their camp, the Lone Ranger, Matt, and Tonto left their pursuers after a chase that lasted close to an hour. But when their trail had been covered, the Lone Ranger, still in his disguise, gave the signal to halt.
Someone scout.
See anything of them, Kimasabi?
Them gone.
Matt, you'd better... You're wounded.
What? What? Why, I didn't even notice it myself.
Let's have a look at that.
They shot me.
Off with your coat.
Do you think it's anything serious?
We'll soon see. But I'll have the rip off your sleeve.
Go ahead.
It doesn't look bad. Tonto, there's some water left in my canteen. Get it. I'll forget it.
Shot me. I'd never even heard a gun fired before in all my life.
Afraid?
No, I don't know yet just how I feel.
Here. Your canteen. Well, thanks. I can tell more about this when I washed it off.
Oh!
Hurt?
No, go ahead. I can stand it.
The smart's because the wound is raw. It's not serious, though. Hardly more than a scratch. I'll bind it up, and by tomorrow or the day after, it should be all healed over.
How do you suppose those fellows knew where we were?
I rode slowly because Silver had to carry double, and I knew you weren't accustomed to the saddle. Boyle must have given them orders to follow us from town as soon as he saw us leave. But two can play at that game. Tonto, think you can back trail until you find the tracks of those fellows who chased us?
That's not hard.
Then do it at once, but keep out of sight. Do nothing but find where they go, whom they report to.
Tonto, do it.
Then return here. You'll have camp ready in the meantime. You get going.
Get him up, Scout. Get him up.
There. How does your arm feel now?
All right.
You better stay with us overnight, Matt. In the morning, you can return to Plainsville and finish up your business.
No.
No?
I'm staying.
But I thought
They
you...
fired at me, wounded me, might have killed me. Stranger, it's my fight now, and I'm getting in it.
Good.
Only I guess there won't be much help.
Do as I tell you, and you can help plenty.
I can? You mean that?
So far, the railroad has carried out its tactics without trouble, because no one has been able to prove the railroad hires the roughnecks who go after the homesteaders. That is, the homesteaders who refuse to sell.
Yes.
But I've got an idea they get their orders and their pay from Boyle.
I'd like to settle with him someday.
Boyle works for the railroad. If we can prove a connection between him and that gang, we'll have the evidence we need. You're with us, Matt?
I am.
And together, we'll prove that.
In the meantime, Judy Miller and her father entertained an unwelcome visitor.
Now, listen to me, Mr. Miller. The railroad just can't fool around with you no longer. This is the third time I've tried to do business with you. Now, you're going to sell her, ain't you?
I'm not.
We'd sell if you'd offer us anywhere near a fair price.
I have.
I've put more than you've offered into this place the very first year it was here. I've cleared this whole farm and proved it, put up good buildings. But blast you, I couldn't even replace that there barn you see through the window for the cash you've offered.
The railroad's got to reach Gregg City before the frost sets.
What's that to me?
That's to be the terminal point for the winter. And it's going to be. And there's something else.
Yeah?
You homesteaders in here are mighty pleased with yourselves. But don't forget there's cattlemen west of you. Cattlemen waiting for the railroad to get to them so they can ship their beef while the market's high, without having to send their herds over a long, dry trail. Once they get word it's you farmers holding up the railroad, they ain't going to like it. What's more, it wouldn't surprise me none if they done something about it.
I thought you'd be getting to this sooner or later.
It's just a tip.
So that when you send your gang of crooks to trample down my crops or to burn down my buildings like they did to Charlie Lang, we're supposed to figure it's cattlemen to blame, not the railroad.
Why, shucks, you know the railroad wouldn't do nothing low down like that.
You. How can you stand there and say a thing like that?
Well, if the railroad's responsible like you seem to think, where's your proof? I ain't heard of none. You got any, you better turn it over to the U.S. Marshal's office. He'd be right glad to see it.
We're getting no place. You better clear out.
Won't sell, eh?
Not now or any time till I get a fair offer.
Well, have it your own way. But, Miller, something tells me that within the next couple of days, you're going to be doggone sorry you didn't sell when you could.
You...
Paul, what do you mean?
I reckon you savage just as well as I do, Judy.
That gang, he'll send them here?
I guess.
But what do we do? Well, they've got to be stopped.
When we don't know where or how or when they'll strike. No, Judy, we'll tell the law and hope for the best. But I'm afraid that won't be good enough.
Boyle, riding eastward until he reached the railroad construction camp, reined in his mount beside a group of men who seemed to be waiting for him.
Whoa, boy, whoa.
You seen him, boss?
I did.
Well, what's the word?
He gets wiped out. just before morning.
Right.
What's it to be? Fire.
Like Lang's place?
Just so. He was telling me what a fine set of buildings he's put up. But he's going to find where he'll have to put them up all over again.
And you want the job done tonight, huh?
Wait until just before morning. That's the best time. He's more likely to be off guard around then.
And the law?
Won't bother you. Been plenty busy with other things. Now get this straight. Your orders are like always. And if you get caught, keep your mouth shut. There's plenty of cash behind the railroad. You don't have to worry that you'll ever go to trial.
That's the last thing that's worrying me.
Well, that's it. You needn't report when the job's done. I'll hear it in town. Now get out of camp. See that nothing goes wrong.
Boss, just leave it to us. Come on, fellas. Get up. Get up there. Get up.
Get him up, Stone. Get him up.
2 hours later.
You're sure of your facts, Tonto? They strike tonight? You weren't seen?
Me hide near car. Them not see Tonto.
That's the information I wanted.
But you said you wanted to prove it was Boyle gave them their orders.
I do.
You heard what Tonto said. They won't talk as long as they believe the railroad will protect them.
Perhaps they won't, but Boyle will.
Huh?
That'll be my job. In the meantime, I have one for you.
What?
Get the homesteaders. Tell them what's planned. Miller's danger. Tell them to arm and follow you.
Me? But they think...
Here's your chance to prove you can be a leader. They'll follow you if they're convinced Miller's in danger. Carry out your part successfully, and they'll be ready to admit they were wrong in their first judgment.
And if they do follow me?
You know their plan to fire Miller's buildings. Let them get far enough to prove their guilt, then close in on them.
I'll do my best.
You know enough to keep all this secret. They'll make no attempt if word gets out.
I know.
And don't be afraid of your horse there. He's well broken. I made sure of that when I got him for you.
I'll make out.
And on your way.
Get up. Come on. Get up.
What we do?
I promised Matt we'd take care of Boyle. He thinks Miller's buildings are to be fired tonight. And that's the fact that'll make him talk. Yep. Come on, Tonto.
Get him up, Stone.
Come on, Silver. Come on.
Young Matt Crowley called at more than a dozen homes.
What do you want?
Arm yourself. Get mounted. You're needed. Where's your husband?
We're just over there in the field.
Thanks. Get up. Whoa there.
Ain't you young Matt Crowley? Didn't I
Never
see
mind
you?
that. Miller's home is in danger. Get your gun.
And that night,
There he is, Tonto.
Me see him.
Coming this way.
Uh,
I'll try to handle this quietly. We don't want to arouse the construction crew.
me not make noise.
Now, don't talk.
Come on, boy.
Rain up.
What's that?
You're coming with us, Boyle.
A masked man.
No arguments.
taking their prisoner beyond hearing of the construction camp, the masked man and Tonto only stopped long enough to place a blindfold over his eyes, then proceeded by a roundabout route to Plainsville. It was late when they arrived. Most of the townspeople had retired to sleep. But a light still burned in the office of the United States Marshal. Half an hour later, the Lone Ranger was talking with the lawman.
If you're tricking me, I'll
What would
see
be
that-
my motive, Marshal? I've told you that Boyle is not far from here. Tonto's guarding him. Why would I admit what I'd done if I had anything to hide?
I don't know.
You wanted to prove the connection between the railroad and the crimes committed against the homesteaders.
I'd give my right arm to do that same.
Very well. Then do as I've told you.
Boyle don't know you brought him to town? He thinks he's near the Miller place?
Right.
But how will
He's
you...
blindfolded. He couldn't see where we were taking him. Tonto said enough to convince him that's where we were headed for.
It ought to work. If you're honest in this,
It will.
then it's a bargain. I'll go you.
I thought you would.
How soon will you be here?
In just a few minutes. Remember your instructions. Tonto.
Me here.
Boyle,
Him safe.
you tied him. He still doesn't know where he is.
Him not know. Him tied good. What lawman say?
He agreed, and he's waiting for us.
Not good.
Come, Kimasabi. Now to get Boyle.
A few minutes later, the Lone Ranger and Tonto approached the rear door of the marshal's office. Between them, they carried a struggling figure and...
Untie me. Take all this blindfold. Let me go. You can't do this.
We are, however. Open the door, Tonto.
Get him.
There's all. Carry him over to the corner there. No one's likely to find him. Easy now.
It's murder. It's the same as murder. I won't be found. Nobody will get me out.
And let him down. There. All right, Boyle. They leave you here. We thought...
No, you can't. You gotta untie me, please.
What are you afraid of?
That ain't none of your business. Just untie me. Take off this blindfold.
If you're not talking, we're leaving. Come, Tonto.
No, wait. I'll be burnt alive. They can't do it. Wait.
You said burned?
Yeah, please let me go.
You sound as though perhaps you're ready to talk.
That's all I can tell you. But you gotta get me out of here. You can't leave me behind.
You're mistaken. That's all you're going to tell me? I can.
Please.
Talk or stay where you are. Tonto, get something to gag him with. We don't want him able to call out and attract attention.
Me get it. Wait, I'll talk.
Yes?
I give the orders. I give the orders to burn the place. Now let me go.
Gave orders to whom?
Hogger, Buck, the other fellas. I'll tell a whole of it. Just get these ropes off.
Hogger and Buck and the others? They're the same men who have been raiding the homesteaders?
Yes.
And they carried out those raids at your orders?
They did. Now hurry.
And you gave them those orders at the instructions of the railroad?
I did, but
That's enough. Tonto, take off that blindfold and release him.
Hurry before they get here.
Well, Marshal?
Stranger, that proves the case.
Marshal, proves the case? What are you talking about?
Take off his blindfold so we can see where he is, Kimosabe.
Get off.
The U.S. Marshal's office.
Which for a polecat like you ain't but a short step to the jailhouse.
But I thought... I was sure
You
that...
thought you were in Fred Miller's barn, which is exactly what we wanted you to think. You said enough to show you knew an attack would be made on his place tonight, at your order.
Why is that, then?
Must be Matt Crowley with more prisoners for you. Your jail will be full tonight, Marshal.
By thunder it will.
We caught them setting fire to the house.
You've done a good night's work tonight, young
Well,
fella.
Marshal, the man that says young Matt ain't the fighter his grandpa was don't savvy what he's saying. He's worse than a cage full of wildcats.
Harold Silver, away!
The masked man.
They're cleared out by Gravy.
And the redskin with him.
Well, it's too late to call them back now. But they didn't clear out till they'd finished their job. And that's the thing that counts.
The story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.